Okay, this is my first take. So let's be very natural, right? Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Sevish, and welcome to Physics with No Big Words. Today's topic is measurement. Okay. Very basically, measurement is an idea of how we express how big things are, or how small things are, how long things are, how short things are, how hot it is, how cold it is. So you get it. It is how we express a certain property of anything, of any object. Okay. So you might be little confused with terms like quantities, units, standard quantities, and everything. Okay, so let's just start with how did measurement start in the first place. Okay. In the earliest human civilization, they didn't have measurement. Okay. They used to barter, and how did they barter is they gave handful of something and received handful of something. Okay. So handful of something and handful of something. So this handful quantity, so the quantity is how much of it is actually present. So that is quantity. So this handful was exchanged with another handful. And now what is unit? Unit in English means one. Okay. So here is the same. Unit means one handful. Okay. And later on, with progress in people's civilization, with progress in human brain, and with progress in technology, numbers came in. So when numbers came in, this handful became one handful, two handful, three handful, four handful, five handful, and things like that. So handful was a unit. Okay. We finally define what our unit is. Handful is a unit, one handful, and then with numbers like five handful, six handful. So numbers and then unit, numbers into unit. That is quantity. So you get it, right? What is quantity? What is unit? Unit is a handful and everything. Okay. So what is standard unit now? Standard unit is a term that has came into existence just for the sake of all of us. If we are talking about measurement, if we are talking about how big it is, how small it is, we are talking the same thing. We are referring to the same thing. So that's how standard units came in. So handful is not standard. My handful could be smaller, someone else's could be smaller than my handful, someone else's could be bigger, because no hand in the world is same. Like my handful could only contain so much. Okay. So we have to define something standard. So instead of handful, we decide that we have one standard cup, and then we define the handful, or we define the volume. The handful which I'm talking about was volume, right? So we define the volume with the cup. Now this cup contains some quantity of, let's say, grains. Okay. Now this grains in this cup has become a standard unit, and everything else is just the derivation of this standard unit. Now everything else is just comparison of this standard unit, like how many cups, 1 cups, 2 cups, 3 cups. So things progressed like that, and then for every property there came a standard unit. Like for mass, there is 1 kilogram. So what is 1 kilogram? 1 kilogram, scientists defined 1 kilogram as the weight of one metal that doesn't change its mass, like that doesn't change its quantity. So 1 kilogram is always 1 kilogram of that mass, and then that was compared and compared and compared. People compared their stuff with that 1 kilogram of something, and then they said this is 1 kilogram now. And then other people compared like the same quantity. If they balanced out, that was now your new 1 kilogram. And then that 1 kilogram circled all around the world, and we have 1 kilogram, right? Same with length. scientists defined something as 1 meter length, like this length was 1 meter, and that rod which had 1 meter length was compared with another rod, like they kept that rod and another rod, and then the new rod had 1 meters, and then they compared 1 meters, 1 meter, 1 meter. The new thing was 1 meter, and then anything that was double of that meter was 2 meters, and anything that was one and then half of that rod was 1.5 meters. So that's how measurement began, and everything is just comparison with this, right? So what did you learn? We learned that measurement is an idea of expressing how big, how small, how short, how everything things is, and then we define standard units just for the sake of, we are talking the same thing, just for the sake to talk or to refer the same thing. So that's how standard unit came in. Okay guys, that was it for measurement. I don't want to take too long. In our next lesson we will hopefully learn how this measurement affect things or anything.